Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. I'm your host Terry. Just grabbing me some notes here. Hey, so I'm back on the road. As you can tell, I'm actually in Lance Corners, Pennsylvania, at the Sheetz. I wasn't gonna have enough time to make it to my pickup today, while they were open, I should say, because this is a self-load facility up in Holland, New York, and they close at 4, so I wasn't gonna make it up there. And it's not like I hustled this morning when I left the house, but yeah, I had a whirlwind weekend at the Truck Tech Expo. Man, that place was hopping. A lot of hospitality rooms. You know, if you ever been to one of those conferences, you go in the exhibition hall, you get all the swag bags, and there's always parties and people schmoozing and stuff. So yeah, it was a good time. And again, my thanks to Regina Queen for being willing to talk to us about Bunkmate and some other stuff that company's doing. So I was talking to, it's kind of funny, I was talking to 2 drivers today, both friends of mine, and we were talking about running in the Northeast, and I was a little bit alarmed when one of the drivers, who's is a friend, he was mentioning he was going to Carteret, New Jersey, and I was like, oh, you know, and I mentioned I-80 being closed in New Jersey, and he's like, what? And so, for those of you who don't follow the news about highways, but you're in the trucking industry, I'm here to help. So, just to bring everybody up to date, I-80 in New Jersey, in particular Morris County, right around the town of Wharton, has been experiencing closures since February 10th, when a sinkhole opened up. And while they originally got the first sinkhole repaired, another one opened up, and then it's just like cascaded. And right now, both westbound and eastbound I-80 in New Jersey are closed. Eastbound closes at exit 34, and westbound closes at exit 34B. And I was talking to him about maybe some alternate routes, because there is a detour. That's where you have to detour. The problem is that, you know, that's a densely, just for reference, right? New Jersey is the most densely populated state in the country. So nothing's easy there when it comes to traffic. And New Jersey Transit is giving 50% discounts on fares to people. They're encouraging people to work from home. They're doing as much as they can. But apparently, these sinkholes under I-80 are from mines that have been there for, you know, decades, centuries, and there's hundreds of them. And here's a look at them doing some, you know, non-destructive testing of the road. And so they've discovered all these voids underneath the surface of I-80. And this is the picture of the original sinkhole that opened up. But, you know, now they got more problems. And so there is a state website. If you just Google I-80 sinkhole in New Jersey, or Google I-80 sinkhole NJ, it's going to bring you up to several websites. And there's a lot of news coverage on it too, including YouTube stuff. But there is a state website, the New Jersey DOT, and they have this thing on the sinkholes, and they talk about, you know, how long it's going to take to fix them and stuff like that. And so this is like from their progress report. And, you know, you could see that they're, you know, they're working on it and stuff like that. But they, you know, it's going to be weeks and weeks before I-80 opens. Here's the, like, the really bad news on, and I just took screenshots from their website. And while I know it is April 1st when I'm making this video, this is not a joke. This has been in the news. You can verify it. You don't have to trust Tim Travels, although you should, because why would I ever steer you wrong? But yeah, man, I was a little bit surprised. My friend was in Ohio. He's like, yeah, I'm going to, I'm like, how you going? And we discussed different routes. And then I had another friend that was coming up from Florida, but he's going to Boston to make a delivery, and we were talking about routes. He wouldn't need to get on 80 no matter how he went. But, you know, that's a super busy route. I certainly have been over it all the way from the New Jersey Turnpike. So exit 34 heading east. So if you're heading towards New York City, towards, you know, the really populated areas like Newark, you know, the Oranges, wherever it is, you know, Linden, New Jersey, Carteret, exit 34. So essentially 34 miles went from when you cross the Delaware River from Pennsylvania into New Jersey. In 34 miles, you're going to be getting detoured off. And westbound, exit 34 also. So if you're trying to get out of Dodge, which I certainly have, you know, I mean, I've picked up in Linden in different places there and headed west, you know, like to Illinois. You're not going to want to try to get across 80. There are detours in place. And if you go to the website I was mentioning, the NJDOT, you will be able to see the detours, like, but they point out that GPS is not going to work for commercial vehicles. And then there's also a military base, an Army Arsenal, the Picatinny Arsenal, that has roads that are going to show up on maps, but the public is not authorized to use those roads. You can't traverse the base. Sometimes military installations, if they're big ones, you can go across the base on the roads that led you into the base. But with an Army Arsenal, they're not going to let you, I guess. So, yeah, so if you're in a truck, I mean, even if you're in anything, man, if you're in a freaking, you know, any kind of vehicle, a pedicab, you want to avoid this area, but certainly with a truck. I've been, you know, I've driven on 206 through Princeton, and I've driven around New Jersey over the years in a truck, and it's never easy. Never is it easy to drive around in a semi in New Jersey. So just avoid that area. I would suggest, as I said to my friend, I said, hey, if you want to avoid the tolls on the PA Turnpike, like let's say you're coming from Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, out that direction, and you don't want to pay the $82,000 it costs to drive a semi across the PA Turnpike, that's a slight exaggeration, but man, the tolls are high on the PA Turnpike. But if you want to avoid that, the way to go is, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, but just run 80 over to, there's a couple options. You can run 80 over to exit 123 and then cut down to 322 and take that over through Port Matilda State College and then run 322 down to Harrisburg. If you don't want to go over the hill and over the dale, through the, whatever that says, over hill, over dale, yeah. If you don't want to do that and go through Phillipsburg and other places like that, you could just go to, I think it's going to be exit 253 or 254. That's the exit for I-99 South. You could take I-99 South down to State College and pick up 322 and head towards Harrisburg. And that will dump you out right on I-81 on the north side of Harrisburg. Take 81 north over to I-78 east, and that's a way to get into Jersey. And really where I-78 dumps you out on 270 or 287, I'm sorry, the beltway that kind of runs around New York and New York City and New Jersey, that is not really that far. It's probably only about, from where 78 comes in and 80 comes in, to the 287 beltway, it's probably only about 10 miles between those exits, maybe a little bit more, but it's not that far. And it will probably, and here's the thing, it will probably save you some brain damage unless you're going through there, you know, in the dead of night. But again, New Jersey is densely packed. So even if it's the dead of night and there's not much traffic, if you're not comfortable like wheeling a semi around in, you know, on tight corners and right-hand turns and stuff, if you're like a lot of these chuckleheads that don't know how to drive a semi in tight places, I would just avoid it altogether. And I can't imagine that even in the middle of the night there aren't backups, because there are traffic lights and stuff. And you know, when everybody's trying to get off the interstate, it's probably not going to work that great. So like I said, if you can avoid that area, do it. And you know, if you have a say in things, I mean, if I were accepting a load into New Jersey, I might be like, hey, that doesn't pay enough, because, you know, everybody just, it's like when I-40 was closed between Knoxville and Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, it still kind of is, because I think there's like one lane each way open. But I picked up a load out in Knoxville, but it was going over to like Greensboro, North Carolina. And I said to my company, I said, hey, am I getting paid to go around this? And they said, yeah. So I assume they made the adjustments to the routes. But if you're picking up a load and you're looking on a map and you're like, oh, it's from, you know, Morris, Illinois to Linden, New Jersey, it's 895 miles. Well, it might still be 895 or 898, but it's going to be 898 with brain damage. So, you know, you at least got to build that into your trip, but you may want to be like, hey, I need more money if you can get it, because I'm going to have to drop down and go across 78 into Jersey. So anyway, good luck with that. I don't have to do it, but you know, it's huge. It's a huge deal. I mean, it's like politicians are all over it. U.S. Department of Transportation. I mean, it's a huge deal. Not just for people in the local Morris County area, but anybody that runs in and out of Jersey, anybody that's running to the, you know, New England that goes across 80. And obviously, if you go across 80 and you're going to like Connecticut, you know, Massachusetts, Maine, wherever, get north. You know, so when you come across, instead of keeping going on 80 and going through New York City, and even if you're going to southern Connecticut, man, get north, then come back south. I think you'll thank me. So anyway, be safe out there, and I'll try to keep you informed as best I can. See you later. Bye.